We on. Testing.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Why are you not going to get excited? What do you mean?
Well, I mean just like making sure my volumes are okay.
Oh,
So,
excitable.
Yeah.
I'm not getting excited.
So if I get excited, I'll pull back.
Okay.
I'll be like, hey!
We're back in the game straight away. Back with the good stuff.
Welcome to the Harry & Co podcast show. Please like and subscribe for more.
Let's talk about the voting.
The voting.
It's all going on, isn't it?
I haven't voted today yet.
No. I haven't yet because they're open till 10.
Open till 10. Yeah, I think...
I did have to phone 2 different councils to find out where the hell I'm registered. Honestly, I had to phone here.
You didn't know?
No, because I think like...
Are you registered in York or somewhere else?
No, sort of West Yorkshire, if you like.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So I had to, but I had no idea. Like, it's not the same as changing council tax and stuff. So being on an electoral... I thought it was linked with that kind of stuff. Or it was a box you ticked. Clearly,
it's like a separate like application kind of thing, isn't it? To like register. When I came over here, like, and I got my like right to remain in the country, then I could like, have my right to vote.
Yeah.
But I got to admit, oh my goodness, I'm struggling with this vote.
Yeah.
There's so okay.
What do you know?
So I'm going to be first off. When we were like,
you know?
okay, when you asked me if I've voted today or whatnot, I'm like, oh no, we're not going to talk about this. Simply because it's one of the things where I struggle with politics. One, because I don't trust none of them. Like none of them. There's not one of them I trust. I think someone's paying them off somewhere, and I just think I don't trust any of them. So it is hard, but obviously people are so much like people have fought for women to be able to vote. Make sure your vote counts. And everything like that. So I'm very much like, okay, well, I should vote. I should make just my vote count. But with the whole Rishi Sunak situation that has been occurring over the last kind of few months, it's a bit of a shit show, if I'm allowed to say that.
It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because it just turns into all-out war, right? It's the same as going, like, for a court hearing with someone for something. Like, people get angry and people... make stuff up. So it turns into a battle of, if anyone just sits there being nice, they're not going to do that well, are they? Do you know what I mean? So it turns into a slagging off match, and that's what I don't like about it. But it's we're better than you. Oh, they'll dig something up from someone's past, to say, like, if I went for ran for anything, like there'd be like sex tapes everywhere. There'd be like, I'm joking. That's obviously not true.
You're
at
not
all.
absolutely.
No, but
not
there'd be
joking.
like someone you sent a picture of your bum to someone like 10 years ago, and that picture will end up like on the front page because that person probably hates you by now.
I always wonder what would come off of my MySpace. You know what I mean?
God,
like someone, if people were to dig deep enough, what would actually come out? Like, what have I actually said? Or like, when you're a teenager, you say like you see like politicians or people who weren't famous and they become famous.
Yeah.
And they were just 15 on, MySpace, on Twitter, and they've said maybe something racist to someone else.
Yeah.
Not even realizing at that age, not meaning it.
That would be,
and then that gets dragged up. I always got worried if I think I'm quite safe, but if I was to ever get famous,
who
something
would be there to get you?
I don't know.
Yeah, the problem is imagine this. Imagine you've got a friend who's like, you could think they wouldn't do the dirty on you, right? Like, because they maybe haven't spoken to them for 10 years, but just they wouldn't. Like, it's someone in your past or like a close friend from. But if the newspapers go up to them and say, like, and they think they might know something, goes, right, have you got any gossip? And they say, no. They go, well, look, if you've got a good story, we'll pay you 30 grand. That's changed a lot of people's...
But this is what I'm saying, like, it always comes down to money. And that it goes back to my point about these politicians, right?
Dirty
because
game.
it is such a dirty game. Like, you've hit the nail on the head there. That like, if you promote this, or if you say you'll do this, we'll give you. Well, for them, it's a whole nother ball game. It'll be like 2 million, or this, and that, like, they're human beings, so people can be bribed with money.
Of course.
And and the other thing with the whole like different parties is, one party will be like, oh yeah, cool, I like that, like what they stand for, but then you don't like something else. But the other party, you also like something about them, but then this other thing you don't like. And this is what I'm struggling with in terms of, all I'm pretty much sitting here today is like, Harry, give me some advice. Who am I voting for? Because I tell you what, I'm going to leave here today and I don't have a clue who I'm leaving
And
today.
we've still got time.
Still got time to vote.
It's voting day today. The time at the moment, if I have a look, it's 5:45 in the evening.
So we've still got 4
o'clock.
hours.
Yes, we've still got plenty of time. We should open the hotlines. Yeah, but just that is the thing. So it's that thing about the dirty games. You know, everyone's, and also like, you know, the manifesto and stuff. And like, we did stuff like this at school, you know, like where, you know, and it was like, vote for me as like the captain of what, you know, like the school stuff, you know, vote for me as the, I don't know, the hall monitor, or whatever we have in England, president of.
Yeah, I was going to say president of something.
Something. Yeah. Anyway, this kind of stuff, normal school, no like crazy expensive schools or anything. And it is, you're going to say, well, I'll do the right. I'm going to give you all free sweets. Like, I haven't got any free sweets, but that's the kind of thing, isn't it? That is literally, it's like doing that thing at school. So, right, I'm going to give you all free sweets, and we're going to finish school at 2:30 instead of 3. Like something that there's no way in 100 years you could ever achieve. And that seems to be like the manifesto, you know, like we're going to cut taxes, Everyone says that. And then, like, you know,
they get into power and it just never
a few
happens.
years later, the taxes are higher as they've ever been before. Yeah. And that's what makes it difficult, because it's not often it feels like anyone keeps promises or can make promises that you think, wow, that's amazing. I suppose like, if they can pull that off.
And I think that's the thing, is we all put our trust into, if they can put it off, that would be amazing. But actually, we probably base it on if we can, and they get into power, and that's probably not going to happen. Have you seen the kind of situation, the interview with Rishi Sunak, about how that guy was like, so, you know, like, what did you miss out in your childhood?
Oh, God, yeah.
Please tell me.
The recent shenanigans. What did he miss out on? Like gold-plated Lego or something?
No, he was like, well, you know, when we were a kid, you know, and he kept asking, and he was like, yeah, but what did you miss out? And he's like, I missed out on many things in life.
Oh,
and he was like,
Sky TV.
He just turned around and went, well, we didn't have Sky TV.
Yeah.
Oh, I died for him. I absolutely died.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I didn't have Sky TV. My parents had good jobs.
Yeah. And I was
know.
speaking to my mother-in-law literally this morning about it, and I'm like, who actually had Sky TV back then when he was probably a kid?
Yeah.
Like, not many people.
How old's Sunak? Like,
isn't he like 40s?
Mid-40s?
40, 50? No, 40s.
I want to go like
45
to 40.
He's quite a young
bit older
Prime
than me.
Minister.
Yeah, but I just think, I see him. I want to be careful what I say, because I don't want to like slate anyone and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
You know, and this is a point I'll make. He's got a lot of money. Okay, like millionaire or whatever, you know, and there's loads of details about what properties people own and stuff like this. Loads of that will be over exaggerated by like the other side, won't it? Or press organisations that are like on a, you know, more supportive of other parties. So that's where it gets a bit dodgy, because, you know, if whoever owns the Sun newspaper and all that, the conglomerates that own media outlets, and some are owned all by one sort of one company, if they're supportive of a certain party, then they've got the ability to like push the message, you know, again.
Yeah,
so
no, exactly.
It's really dangerous.
But that's what I mean. And these newspapers and these medias can literally say really whatever they want to say. So I definitely think there's a fine line. Whenever the topic of politics and things like, I don't know, I've just always been brought up to just be like, don't get involved. Like, do you know what I mean? Just keep your opinion, who you're voting for, keep it all to yourself.
Yeah.
That's just how I've been brought up. Obviously, you know, I love the people that stand up and be like proud about it and things like that.
Yeah.
But for me, I've just never really discussed that kind of thing, because you don't want to offend people. But at the same time, my opinion on something might be different to someone else's.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, controversy and things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've definitely in the back of my head, voting day today, I'm like,
Get the basics. Get the basics. There's some like .org websites. There's some like, could be like non-profits or sort of information services that try to give a balanced view on the different parties that are running, where their position falls, sort of left wing, right wing, and in the middle, and whatever else, and to try and get you to, you know, to give you some, because you got to think, this is the thing as well. There's a lot of people out there with different levels of academia, intelligence, and everything, you know, everything else. So there's people out there that are much more intelligent than other people. Just that's the point. I'm not belittling anyone at all. But there's people that have got the ability to think deeply about a topic much more than some other people.
But I'm exactly that.
So,
like, I'm not.
That doesn't
like,
mean.
When it comes to politics,
Yeah.
there's just no one. this, you know, I might look bad saying this, but there's no interest for me.
Yeah.
I know, you know what I mean? A lot of people are passionate about that, and they do, you know. But for me, and I can't think like that. I'm very like logical, and I'm very just like day to day kind of thing. So, but there's people who are so smart, and you know, they know all this information.
But it's researching, and anybody can tell you what they're going to do for you and for the people. But it's like, but then a lot of people like. I saw a post from someone that I know on Facebook, and they're like, I'm not going to vote because it's just like, I can't be bothered, like, because my vote won't count. And that's the worst thing you can ever say, is like, my vote doesn't count. Because if 100 people say their votes don't count, and they're not interested because the votes don't count, and then and it's like, you know, different people in different spectrums are going to vote for different parties. You know, that's why you've got the Labour Party that supports more, you know, more working people. There's, you know, there's categories of people, or type, you know, people that do different things in life that generally, you know, so a lot of rich people vote for the Tories, Conservatives. That's like that's a thing, like that's, and so that's, you know, so more people.
What's Rishi Sunak?
So Conservatives, so like the current government.
Okay.
So, you know, but then generally we've had like some. I think we've had like good leadership. Generally, you know, not at any particular point. You know, it's been up and down a lot, but I've generally had a relatively good ride with the Conservatives. You know, and the last time Labour were in, that was like the Tony Blair thing, wasn't it? And a bit of Gordon Brown and stuff like that.
Yeah, so do you know last time that they were in? How long have Conservatives
how long ago is that?
Been in?
The Conservatives have been in since, it was the Lib Dem thing. So there was the, David Cameron went in, was it him and Nick Clegg did the
so 50-50. Just remember, I've only been here for 7 years.
Oh, yeah, okay. So go back around, go back around that sort of time. So basically, after Labour sort of finished their rule, if you like, after Labour, it went back to Conservatives, but it was a split vote. So it was like Lib Dems and Conservatives. So you got the Liberal Democrats and the Conservatives, and that was like, I'm pretty sure that was when it was David Cameron. And then anyway, either way, we don't need to list all, because there's been so many different prime ministers since, with all the different that we haven't chosen, you know, where it's all like just changed because of timings and stuff. But that was split. So that was like Lib Dems and Conservatives. Conservatives then kind of like took back the majority of control and stuff like that, or majority of seats in Parliament. And we're still with the Conservatives. And obviously with COVID and things like that, there was not really any change. You know, it's just it's been a mess really. And we had like Theresa May and people that were in for short periods of time. And
what was Theresa May? Was she Labour or was she Conservative?
Conservatives, yeah. Right, so Conservatives with, and then it sort of followed its way through, and eventually we've got Rishi Sunak, he wasn't actually elected, was he? He just stepped in. So he was it the deputy chancellor or something, and then I think he then became the chancellor. I'm not in. Like, this is me just trying
off
to
the top
remember
of your head, yeah.
Like, I'm not in any way politically, you know, looking at this every day.
Yeah.
But then he got so he made his way in and. Because at once, so within the party, like the Conservatives, they can like promote. So if someone resigns as Prime Minister, they can then nominate someone effectively inside. It doesn't go back to the public for another vote for a new Prime Minister. So that's how Sunak got in. Oh,
so he was actually kind of voted in from the inside.
Sort of, I think, to find someone for the job. Because you're voting for the party as well, not necessarily the... So it's seats in Parliament, isn't it? So you do the local elections. So you're voting for who in York, for example. You want to have the seat for York in London.
Yep, right.
So imagine Bob Smith or Jane Smith, both sides, is voted, say, Conservative for York. So York has got a seat in Parliament, and it will be a Conservative seat, so like a blue seat. And so all the MPs, you know, I'm going to write to my MP because I'm not happy. That person in that area is sat in...
Right, and then depending on how many people, how many seats they have in Parliament, then, so if Conservatives have more seats than Labour, then someone from the Conservative
They've probably got a conservatory because they're loaded. They'll all have a conservatory,
plenty of
darling.
Them. Then they can be, someone from that team from that side will then be
so that party will then be like the majority,
right?
And then there's more to it, but let's keep it simple.
But this is what I mean,
for me
like,
and you also,
when you said talking about politics, I'm like, I'm gonna look like a right
but
tool
now
on this.
We might both work out our vote.
I know that was actually interesting. I guess I never sit down. I probably should research it, because, you know, so many people today have said to me, like, at the end of the day, Nicole, like, your vote does matter. And,
it does matter.
They're running the country, so if you can, you know, get your, you know, you might not get your vote, like, that person might not get in. But yeah, it's quite important.
Yeah.
So very interesting.
So there's ways of looking at it, and like the vote, and my vote doesn't count and stuff like that. Right? Imagine the vote is between imagine it's not just humans that can vote. Okay, so imagine also Alsatians can vote, elephants can vote, and kangaroos can vote.
Okay, where are you going with this?
No, so imagine there's 500 kangaroos, 500 Alsatians, 500 elephants, and 500 humans. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, and we can all vote.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm coming.
Right.
I'm coming.
They've all got different sized brains. Yeah. They've all got the ability to think differently. The elephant might struggle with the pen. Yeah. But the point is, different creatures on the planet, they've all got their vote, but maybe only a quarter of them will actually vote. And it might be, majority of them might be the humans who'll vote for a human king.
Okay.
So see what I'm like, the point I'm trying to make is, if people say my vote's not, I can't be bothered because like, my vote won't make a difference.
Yeah.
I think that point is if everybody had that, or all the different people for all the, you know what I mean? So it's like, the point is, so if, for example, if all the people that would generally vote Conservatives were the only one who could be bothered to vote, then obviously it's going to be a Conservative win.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know, it's not a great analogy.
You've got to do it, yeah.
Yeah. Everybody should vote.
I was wondering where you're going with that for a very long
My
time. And I was like, your
shit.
Brain sometimes just amazes me with
I'm
what
not
you
on
come
my
up
medication
with.
today. Can you tell?
I didn't want to say, have you taken your meds?
But anyway, so one more point I wanted to make was this thing about, who we're going to vote for. In terms of who, like, I don't know, I'm probably not going to share my vote on here, but it's like, you've got Farage sat there and he's pushing out all the social media stuff. I know a lot of that's targeted, but I generally don't subscribe to stuff or press the like on stuff. I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
I don't subscribe to anything. I don't subscribe to loads of people on YouTube or anything at all. If I'm watching TikTok, if I'm watching Facebook reels or whatever else, I'm not tapping away doing anything. I know that everything's clever and it can get you, but it's not like I put loads of right-wing stuff in and so I'm getting Nigel Farage all the time. I generally think Nigel Farage of the Reform Party is really pushing hard on social media. So it seems to be loads of him. And to be fair, I get that because it's more interesting as a watch on social media because it's a bit controversial and this, that and the other. Whereas like Rishi Sunak and some more, the mainstream party leaders,
Where are they?
Well, they don't want to be.
Yeah, I haven't really seen anything.
Yeah, their videos on social media will be like them showing, like someone at a primary school showing them their work. Do you know what I mean? Those traditional sort of
colouring in with some kids.
Yeah, cool. Oh, that's a lovely frog you've coloured in. Like, no, I want some nitty gritty. Like, I want to watch something a bit more.
Get us some goss.
Yeah. So I see like Nigel Farage is a bit more of like a Piers Morgan. Someone who's like actually going to like. And, wants to ask questions and challenge. Yeah?
That's come up a few times for me today, that it's the Reform Party, is that what it is?
It was UKIP. So this was the UK Independence Party. So this was like, I don't know if there was ever like borderline racism, but this was like I think they had to change and undergo a lot of change as a party. But it has evolved into, so it's like, what else was it called? So it was like, anyway, it was UKIP, which when they first started out, I think were a bit like, far right and deemed to be, like just a bit dodgy.
Oh,
you know
okay,
what I mean?
yeah.
So
right.
this was where Brexit came out of. So my understanding is that it was like UKIP that were pushing for Brexit effectively and pushing that into the political system to make us have a vote for Brexit. We did Brexit and we Brexited.
Yeah.
And so actually, but the point is, if UKIP and that thinking pushed Brexit and we actually did it. Hang on, they've achieved something that
without
massive.
even being in power.
Yeah, without even being in power, they pushed an agenda and achieved the biggest thing that's ever happened in politics and for the UK in decades.
Wow.
So that's a weird one. But so Nigel Farage for me, like he doesn't come across as an absolute belter, but he comes. I would like somebody in politics for the UK to take the country forward that's going to challenge the system, challenge people, challenge the way we're getting taxed, not just continue with the same old stuff, properly challenge everything about it. And so it's people like that I think have got the ability to, or certainly the want and the belief from other people in them that they will do that. So start to, look at, alternatives to things. I think generally, if a mainstream party takes over, there won't be a lot of change.
Yeah.
Lots of things don't like change. The banks, the interest rates, all this stuff doesn't like change because that's when interest rates go nuts because bankers are scared and stuff. But who knows what to believe? That's the point, isn't it? But I would like someone to challenge. My other point is all these people are loaded, right? So like overview, like Donald Trump in America. What the hell? Like seriously, is he? So he is the best representative they can find for their political system in the whole of the United States of America.
See, I don't know. I'm going to be controversial. I like the guy.
But what? Because he's funny?
I generally like the guy. I think he stands up for his country. I think he's not.
I get that.
But we can be we don't have to have the same opinion,
Yeah.
But I think for me,
no, Nicole, no,
how
he's
dare
a bad man.
But I know so many people are like he's such an idiot. But actually, when you look deeper, he's so passionate about his country, and but you're saying challenging. This is what this guy's, this whoever you've just said about it, challenging. That's exactly what he does. He just doesn't always go the best way around it.
Yeah.
Now, keep going with your point because I don't want that to be honest completely. But I'm just not going to sit here and be like, well, actually,
I get it.
I do like the guy.
I get it. We're here. It's a two-way conversation.
Yeah.
No, Trump, like, my point will not just be whether or not this person is challenging. So, and maybe does. My problem with that will be I have no idea. Like I work with some American people, so I do speak to people every now and again.
Yeah.
I don't really ask them a lot about their political system because whatever I'm doing is probably there's more interesting stuff to be doing or talking about. But I just the problem for me is these people. It's like you're putting a billionaire in. And this we can come back to the UK side as well now. So I don't know enough of the output of them having Donald Trump in is great because this is happening. It's the best thing that ever happened. Building that wall between Mexico and the United States, it must be the best thing. I don't know. I just don't know if that was worth doing.
I think it's hard to say when you don't live in that country isn't it? So we can all
Unless
have an opinion based on what we see on social media.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm more interested in what's going on here than what my taxes do.
What I'm paying for.
Well, yeah, exactly. And, I will go to California for a wonderful holiday and it'll be great. I was in California when Obama became president.
Wow.
So I was in California go back to the Bears. I think of the white Bears or the brown Bears. Do you remember that? Was that our first podcast?
I think that was our first podcast. And you absolutely shamed me on that.
I did, but I did see some brown Bears. But no polar bears. Oh God, I love that. We need to do like an anniversary edition. Anyway, let's not get back to Bears.
What, after our 3 months?
Yeah, 90-day special. Right, forget the Bears. But yeah, so when I was in California years ago, what was the date? 2008? Anyway, it wasn't, but because I'll get it wrong. But back then, when Obama, riding on a llama, came straight down, killing Obama. Killing Osama. It's like a rhyme. I was going to do a bit of a rap with it. Yeah. Okay, we'll do that later.
Stick to IT.
Yeah. Anyway, so I bought the newspaper. It must be like America Today, like one of the biggest papers. I've got that at home. I know exactly where it is. I don't know if I should put it in a glass thing. I don't know if it's worth any money. So an original USA Today newspaper, Obama wins.
Oh, wow.
And
you kept it all these years?
And I've got that, yeah.
Wow.
In pretty much mint condition.
Yeah.
But maybe it's worth putting it in, packaging it and look. I don't know if it's worth anything.
Well, maybe in a few years it might be.
Yeah. I'll have to have a look on it. I could put it on eBay. 10 grand. I doubt it'll be worth anything. Anyway, where were we? He seemed like a normal guy. He was like the first black president as well in America. So that was like revolutionary. But he just seemed like a normal guy. I thought, oh, wow, some common sense. Just seems like a normal guy doing and this is my point. Donald Trump might be brilliant for the country, right? But he's a billionaire, isn't he? I don't know all these scandals and stuff. He's actually got no money or whatever. But he's a billionaire. He's got a private jet with Trump on it and Trump Towers and it owns half of Las Vegas, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm making that
up. But doesn't that say a lot? He doesn't need to be there.
But doesn't that mean it's a game and he doesn't care really?
No, because I think if it was a game, I think I look at it is if it was a game to him. He wouldn't be trying to make so much change.
True.
So I don't want this to
be.
I don't want it to persuade you. Yeah. But I think for me, if it was such a game for him, and don't get me wrong, I don't have Trump posters in there. I'm just trying to be like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, I don't like the guy. But when you look at Biden and oh my God, the shit show that is. Like, I'm sorry, mate, but you have disgraced your country. But then you've got someone like Trump who, yes, he is a millionaire. Absolutely. He doesn't need to be there. But then he's done so much
Yeah.
that people can hate him, but he doesn't care because he's like,
Yeah.
no, I'm going to make American great again.
Yeah.
And he doesn't really have to be there. I don't know.
Yeah.
For me, I look at that, don't know the guy personally. I don't know the ins and outs of
and what's happened, I guess,
what he's doing.
the
But
metrics.
I don't know. I think he might. I hope, I stuttered a lot there. I hope he does get in, more so because I'd love to see what he does. And I know for a fact people are listening here and like, who the heck is Nicole? We don't even know who she is. I don't even think I've ever said
Trump.
this. I don't think no one probably, I don't even think my wife knows that I like him. Like, no, I've never actually said this
Do you
out
like
loud.
him?
But I do. I don't know.
Is there a Trump t-shirt?
Trump said no. I don't know. I think
Or
I
tattoo.
secretly like watch what he does. I've seen a lot of videos and I'm like, this guy's got guts. But
That's
anyway, that's just where I'm like, no one literally will know that I.
Oh,
I
no,
actually,
you're outed as a Trump.
I've outed
doesn't
it.
matter here, does it?
No, absolutely not. Everyone's got
different
their own
thing.
opinion, don't
Yeah.
they? But I wasn't. I know you said that, and I was like, I don't know.
No, look, but that's not that. Yeah,
Yeah.
But so going back to my point. So I've waffled on about it for a bit, and it's good to have the two-way on it. But my point, and coming back to the UK, right? Okay, so for America, my point on that one is like, where is the 35-year-old man or woman, who has come from a normal background, who you meet, right? Do you meet these people? Definitely not me, but do you meet these people sometimes with work or whatever? Like someone who's getting married and you're talking to, and sometimes you just think like, I don't go around thinking, oh, he'd be a good prime minister, but I see someone and just think, or even friends, like professional friends that work a certain job, like they've got a decent job because they're pretty good.
Yeah.
They might be between 35 and 45 and they're pretty intelligent. You think, wow, this guy's really well-rounded, or girl, it's really well-rounded. And this is what this is the point I'm trying to make is they're all people that are coming, privately educated. A prime minister does not need to be educated in the best school in England, right? Because we've got CEOs of companies look at someone like Jeffrey Bezos, who just set up Amazon and stuff like this, like a clever guy. He got it right, okay. And whatever, he's on a super yacht now. He might have turned into a bit of a knob since like he got rich. But these maybe like a good business leader who's good to his staff, has got a reputation for being awesome to his staff, and he's built a company with 500 people working for him and they all love him. That straight away says that person's like good to the people, or at least good to the people that work for him. And a prime minister, like really the people in the country are supporting and paying taxes and working towards that political system. So my point with any country, there's so many people out there that are just generally pretty intelligent, haven't got all the sex tapes in the background, do you know what I mean? And
But they don't get a chance because they didn't come from money.
Yeah.
So
but
they don't.
How does that work though?
Yeah.
Why are people not? And don't get me wrong, I know there will be MPs that haven't come from any money and haven't. Those are the people that should be, if they're, they've got the intelligence, they've got the good moral standing and know what they want for the people. Those are the people that we should be voting for locally to then get pushed towards Parliament and then getting. But it doesn't work like that. They're all millionaires or barristers or like, why?
Do you think though, just to throw a spanner in the work, do you think that if a normal person, I can say normal because let's be honest, majority of us are working class people. So do you think a working class person that maybe got in that position wouldn't stay that way for very long? Simply because, as we were talking about at the start of this podcast, how easy it is for a multi-million company to just be like, oh, I'll give you 50 million to go for this, go for that. But this is what's sad about the world, is that someone who has general morals, who actually wants to stand up for things and be like, hey, the way we're treating as a society isn't right. I want to do something about it and I want to get into politics. They then go in and that's why they call it politics. Yeah. Like it's an absolute joke how much, and it's all run at the end of the day by money, by bribes, by who's got more money to offer them, and then that's what they're going to speak out about. And that's why sometimes, now, I can't say it about Rishi Sunak because I don't know what he's doing at the moment because he's come from money, but sometimes people that actually have money can make more of a difference, i.e. Trump, because he doesn't care, because he doesn't need your money. So actually, I'm going to stand on what I want to say because I don't need your money. But...
I don't know. So I don't know. You could crush my point a little bit on that one in a way.
I'm not trying to.
No, but in a way, I know what you said. So I don't really get it. That they're all generally people. That we go back a bit, and there probably is people that haven't come from like with a big background. We'd have to go back with the prime ministers and have a look and stuff. But at the moment, for me, it kind of like it stinks a bit if the people that are leading the country are just so loaded. And it's like the American thing. It's like, how was Arnold Schwarzenegger a governor of California? So he was like the mayor,
crazy,
governor.
Isn't it? Yeah.
But it's like, okay, he might be wicked, but it's Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's a movie star, and I'm not saying freedoms, right? Anyone can do whatever they want to do. Like if you want to be an astronaut and you could get there, do it. Like anyone can do what they want to do, and should be allowed to do what they want to do. But it isn't that in itself for me. I think Arnold Schwarzenegger is great. Love all his films, but like it's weird to see him as the governor. Imagine he became president for a period of time, which could have happened if he got a governor got pushed through and wanted to get further in the political system and blah blah blah. And so you're watching Terminator 2, and later on Arnold Schwarzenegger is the president of one of the biggest superpowers
I would struggle
in the world.
to take him seriously.
So that is what I find weird. And as a normal person what they call it, the man on the Clapham omnibus. This is a way of saying like the man on the street, the normal man or woman, but the traditional phrase was like the man on the Clapham omnibus. So it's like a man on a bus in London.
Yeah.
That's the legal terminology of a normal person. Yeah. The man in the street. It now has to be a man or woman
Going
in the
back
street.
to your point, though, like I completely agree, and like I know I took, as I said, it was a better in the works.
Yeah.
But I just wish, and you're exactly right, that someone who's just middle class, who have, had it rough, can come from experience, and they don't get caught up in being bribed and money being thrown at them. And they're like, you know what? Yeah, I need that money, but actually I care about our society more, or I care about our culture more. But I think, ending on it, I think, it's very much one of those things where I wish for better. And I want to go and vote. Yeah. But, I don't really know who to vote for, because at the moment it's difficult to trust anyone, because, there's not a middle class person that's up for, nomination. Yeah. Nomination, the right word?
Well, middle class would be, So it's difficult, isn't it? Because if we don't really have, and we don't like to say that we have a class system, like upper class, middle. I think middle class in the UK generally means people with quite a lot of money.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. So working class is your terminology for more, but even that is.
So is it working class?
Yeah, because we don't have like lower class, working class, middle class, and upper class.
Right.
I mean, it's a bit weird. You'll have to look at it. I don't know the exact terminology, but I think like your normal person, the working class, come on, the people that are paying the working normal
live
jobs,
month to month kind of thing. Can afford things, but
and
live
then
month to month.
Middle class is generally used for people that have quite a lot more money.
I've been saying that wrong the whole podcast.
Well, no,
Take
it
depends
it all back.
Yeah.
Get rid of Trump. Yeah. Is that what you're saying? Get rid of him.
Get rid of him.
Get rid of Biden. Get rid of Trump.
Yeah. But it throws a bit of controversy, because I didn't think you'd expect me to say that.
No, I like it.
I didn't expect me to say that.
I love going on holiday to America. I like a lot of things that Americans stand for. I think the gun rules and stuff like that, there's some big problems there.
Big problems.
But that's a really hard one to unpick.
Never been to America.
Yeah, it's good.
Always love to go. Yeah.
Definitely California or New York, or there's loads of nice places, but they're the places I've been to. But I hope everyone's going to be voting. I'm going to be, like I said, there's loads of resources. This is going to go out probably just when the vote finishes tonight. Yeah. Hopefully I'll get this out tonight. So I hope everyone's voted. We should both have voted.
Yes. We need to vote. I need to get on my Google.
Yeah, but have a look at. So there's some.
I just don't want to go and just do. You know what I mean? I'll tick just for the sake of it.
No, but there's some basically like .org websites. Some sort of that aren't supposed to be aligned. This is the thing, isn't it? Everyone's getting paid and everyone to do everything.
Yeah.
To just give you a very basic overview of what their top 5 points are in their manifesto, what they're promising, and what they, I think someone like Nigel Farage, my understanding is it would be it'd be highly, unless there's a massive, I don't know, because they've got to get the seats in the areas and so I don't know enough to know how that would work. My understanding is it will, like the win will more than certainly be either Conservatives or Labour, because they're the big parties with thousands and millions of people supporting
I'm interested to look at the Reform party, though. That was interesting.
And that'll be a slow burner, but for all these, you've got the monster raving loony party. You've got all, there's all these other parties that you never really hear of. Yeah. And like the Green Party, they go up and down, but they never get anywhere close to like the Lib Dems who sit there, Labour, and then at the moment Conservatives, and that kind of mix, right? So, you know, who knows? I think Labour are supposed to be looking quite tasty. I can't remember from what I've read so far, because they do like the opinion polls, don't they? They go around asking everybody who you're going to vote for, and like surveys and stuff like that. Then they go back and say, well, we already know it's most likely because they've done like a survey, not the actual vote anyway. But yeah.
On that note,
I
think people are going to vote just after they've heard that, all that brilliant knowledge.
Yeah, well, they won't hear it till after the vote, but it's an interesting one, and I do like to talk about it. But like I say, I'm not a political guru, so this isn't my forte.
Yeah.
I massively support the democratic system that we have. I think it's wonderful that even though there's corruption in different countries at different levels, right? Some countries crazy compared, but I think we're really lucky to have a relatively, realistic democratic system. Okay, I appreciate when someone's voted in as prime minister, there's going to be people behind the scenes doing a lot of the work, right? So if they want to go to war, they'll probably go to war, and the prime minister will have to go along with stuff. That kind of thing in a way. But I think it's wonderful that we've got the option to be properly voting, because you look at other countries that are in the news right now and where there's conflict going on in the world, the people they can vote, but the outcome will always be the same.
Yeah.
So I think we're super lucky to have a proper democratic system.
I agree.
Yeah. So happy voting, everybody, or well done for voting for everyone who's voting after, and that was our little political rant.
Yeah. No judgment on my lack of knowledge, but I will do my research.
Right now?
Maybe next year I might vote properly. Is it? Or it's 4 years?
Is it for?
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but then they can apply for, there's all sorts of stuff.
So much will happen.
The Scottish will be coming back wanting the stuff, won't they? So who knows? Love the Scottish.
Well, thank you for listening, guys.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you very soon.
See you soon.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.